What's up, guys? It is Corey from Super Kami Guru 9000, and the time has come again to review another awesome episode from the Naruto and Naruto Shippuden anime series. And this week we have a very special one, and I want to go ahead and give a special thanks to our good friend Blue Sakaga, who gave us this information. This week they're going to be airing Naruto Shippuden episode 293, and this is a very special episode because it's going to be worked on by a very legendary animator by the name of Toshiyuki Suru. And he has worked on some of the more famous episodes in the series, and that's the one we're going to be covering today, which is Naruto Shippuden episode 85. Now, when he was working on that episode, he was just the storyboard and episode director. However, he is going to be handling everything in the following episode. That means he's going to be doing the script, the storyboard, directing, as well as supervising the animation. And this is a very big deal because this is the first time he's ever done anything like this since 1990. Now, if you guys do not know, Naruto Shippuden episode 85 is one of the best, most action-packed episodes in the entire anime series. And for me personally, it's one of my absolute favorites. The actual story going on in the episode is towards the end of the Hidan and Kakuzu arc, otherwise known as the Immortals arc, and it's the huge battle that's going on with Kakashi, Shikamaru, Ino, and Choji, and they're going to be fighting against Hidan and Kakuzu, and honestly, it's just one of the most action-packed ones I've ever seen, and Naruto isn't even in it at all, and it certainly has some of the greatest animators the series has ever had working on it directly. Naruto Shippuden 85 marks the first time that both Naruto character designer Hirofumi Suzuki and Tetsuya Nishio had worked on an episode together. Like I said, Naruto Shippuden episode 85 has a lot of great animators working on it, and a lot of the people that were on board had a lot of great things to offer. You had your storyboard and episode director, Toshiyuki Suru, your animation supervisor, Hirofumi Suzuki, and then you had your whole list of key animators, which had some very famous people like Tetsuya Nishio, Norio Matsumoto, Tokuyuki Matsutake, Hiroyuki Yamashita, Shingo Yamashita, and last but not least, Masayuki Yoshiki. Now that we know who some of these animators are, let's sort of take a look at some of their individual works and what they actually worked on in this episode. First up is Tetsuya Nishio, and he worked on a very crucial scene in this episode. Towards the end, we get to see that Shikamaru and Hidan are having their final confrontation, and Hidan is literally about to activate his curse attack. And all of this is animated in a really, really creepy fashion, and you can definitely see this here. Hidan's always got that creepy smile on. He even has his canine teeth showing a lot more here. And all of the lighting is very dark and very, very awesome, and it's definitely a great conclusion to this episode. After that, you got Norio Matsumoto, who did the first action part of the episode, which was Shikamaru's attack on both Hidan and Kakuzu, and to the part where Kakuzu was jumping out of the water. Tokuyuki Matsutake also animated the scene right after Norio Matsumoto's. This was the scene where Hidan is avoiding Shikamaru's tendril attacks that come from his shadow technique. This is a really cool scene where you get to see Hidan sort of jumping around and actually showing that he is quite nimble. Right after that, we have the return of the legendary Hiroyuki Yamashita, and he animated some of the most awesome action scenes from this episode and some of my personal favorites. He did that scene where Ino was falling on the ground after that huge explosion at the beginning of the episode, which is right before the opening. You also have that scene where Hidan is jumping towards Choji when he pisses him off and he's getting ready to chop him down with his three-bladed scythe. That's of course until Kakashi decides to get in there and starts fighting against him. Right after that, we have the scene where Kakuzu is getting ready to beat the living fuck out of Choji, where he jumps in front of him, takes all of his hits, and literally kicks him right into a tree with no problems whatsoever. But Hiroyuki loves making Choji suffer, so he has another scene where Kakuzu actually drags Choji by his neck towards him. This is, of course, until Ino decides to jump in as well. Naruto Shippuden episode 85 is easily one of my favorite episodes, as I stated earlier, and there's a number of reasons for that. Now, when I was first reading this arc in the manga, I really did enjoy it, and that had a lot to do with the main characters themselves, Hidan and Kakuzu. I thought they were really interesting villains, but at the same time, the arc in the manga just felt really, really short, really small, and it really didn't seem like it had that much of an impact. But there really was a lot of important things here, and I thought it was really interesting when I was watching this for the first time that they decided, hey, let's make this the episode we put a lot more effort into, and let's forget about Naruto using Rasen Shuriken for the first time. That's not to say the episode when Naruto does that technique, it doesn't look cool. It's just that this episode had a lot of flash and a lot of flair, and it had been quite a little while since we'd seen an episode like this. I'd say the closest thing to it would probably be Orochimaru versus the Four Tails, but that was a pretty slow episode in itself. I'd say it was the Sakura episode that this one really came after, and it just blew my mind. There was just so many great elements to it, and it also featured my favorite character in the series, Kakashi, and he was just kicking ass a lot of the episode, especially the scenes where he was fighting against Hidan in the tree. I really, really love that, especially the fact that Hidan has this giant three-bladed scythe, which if you don't dodge that thing correctly, you're going to get fucked up. And it really is a testament to show how Kakashi is able to dodge around all those techniques. And it just looks so really cool when they're animating, when they're running up the trees, and how he's having to avoid Kakuzu and all of his other monsters. And Kakuzu is another part of that episode that's really important, because it's also when we're introduced to his main abilities. Now, the episode before, we got to see he had those 4 mask monsters, but in this one, he actually uses them to a much fuller degree, and they all have their different elemental powers, and you get to see Shikamaru having to fight against them, and even using their abilities against Kakuzu, which I thought was really clever and animated really well as well. But it's the hand-to-hand combat that I really remember from this one a lot, especially with Kakuzu versus Kakashi. And this is kind of a superficial thing for me, because when I think of ninjas, I always think of the sort of stereotypical black ninja. They're always wearing all black, they have a mask on, and they're always moving really quick, and you can never see them. And I guess that's why I liked Kakashi and Kakuzu, because, well, they're 2 masked ninja, and they're both just beating the living crap out of each other with all these techniques they just keep pulling out of nowhere. And the episode just gives and gives and gives. You got Shikamaru being a badass, getting ready to overcome Hidan. You got Kakashi, who's pretty much defending the entire team. And even Choji has a few cool moments. And, Ino doesn't really do too much, but she does defend herself and her comrades, which really speaks a lot for her character. So, as far as action episodes go, this is certainly an episode in the series you guys need to check out. I'm sure fans of the series have already seen it. Like I said, it's in my top 5 favorite episodes. It's incredible, and it has some of the best animators working on this episode, so you guys really need to check this one out. And if you are interested in seeing more of the animation that came from this episode, make sure and tune in this week for episode 293 of Naruto Shippuden. Alright guys, so how did you feel about the very epic episode of Naruto Shippuden 85, Kakashi and his team fighting against Hidan and Kakuzu? You can let me know with your comments below, and like I said guys, make sure and look out for that new episode this week. It's actually the 4th episode of the Chikara arc, and I can't stress it enough, you guys need to watch it. It is really, really entertaining. Alright guys, that concludes this video today. Super Kami Guru 9000, out.